Electronegativity, quantum physics, and psychological personalities. Do you know how much everything in this world is connected? So, every time you experience excess of amygdala shaking and you are tensed and worried and literally cannot stop thinking negative thoughts, this is because of the nature of electronegativity. One negative thought leads to another negative thought, and this process has to continue so that the cortisol molecule can maintain its electronegativity structure. When it literally cannot maintain it anymore, and literally your amygdala starts to shake haphazardly, your pituitary gland starts to produce endorphins, and you require a rush of dopamine to move through. And this is to balance the electronegativity of the molecular compound and structure of your carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, which already are highly electronegative in nature. And the structure of the carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen atoms continues to change as we move from cortisol to endorphins to serotonin to oxytocin. And you will be bewildered that almost all the anti stress drugs, followed by LSD and even marijuana, has compounds of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen. And all these, despite being electronegative in nature, is necessary for the body for its free energy, where your molecule stores a lot of energy which needs to channelize itself for you to flow, for your atoms to react with each other, for you to flow in your state of energy, realize things, retrospect through things, and move to a state of relaxation by going through a change in structure of the molecular compound. And as this change in structure of the molecular compounds are happening, and as the compounds are taking on electrons or dropping electrons or taking on photons, in this process, you are literally moving through exothermic and endothermic reactions in your body to move towards a state of homeostasis. And literally, in this state, your electromagnetic wave and biochemical wave are literally reacting with each other, like the Earth's electromagnetic wave and your biochemical wave are reacting with each other, and also that of others, which are determined by the kind of hormones that you are emitting. So, literally, as we know that helium, lithium, xenon, radon, argon, the noble gases, have least electronegativity. They are the most stable, whereas carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine has high electronegativity. And because of that high electronegativity, the bodily reactions can take place. In fact, helium, lithium, are neon are used in creation of drugs like asthma, for channelizing regular blood flow, for intake of more oxygen capacity. All these drugs are actually used, I mean, all these compounds of noble gases are actually used in forming the formula of the structure of the medicines in this process. And that's because of their laser electronegativity. Whereas carbon, being highly electronegative, even though it's present in our body and it is required for the procedures to continue, for the complex procedure of human biochemical process to continue. So, literally, we are magical beings who are quantum in nature, and based on the electronegativity of the state, the reaction, and the changes, there is a molecular reaction, a molecular channeling of the energy, free energy, which can be channelized and transmuted. And through this transmutation, you can change states, you can move to different quantum vortexes and channelize different kind of energy field. And based on your psychological personality, if you have excess of cortisol, or somebody you meet is having excess of dopamine or serotonin, the biochemical fields of you and them will be literally interacting with each other, will be literally having a realization and connection with each other, and will be receiving or giving energy to each other. And that's interesting, right? And literally, to transmute your excess of cortisol, this is why it requires a lot of beta waves by focus, because your alpha waves, which are like alpha endorphins, are kind of constituting of the awareness of your cortisol programming. So excess of gamma retention and focus will be changing the structure of your cortisol naturally to state of more serotonin, and first by producing endorphins. And this is how but magical and interesting this human mind is. The structure of your molecules, the sensations, literally, of the need to take in more electrons is why your cortisol creates that shaking effect in your amygdala. So, next time your amygdala shakes, realize that cortisol is taking up on molecules and is literally in a state where your cortisol needs support, your cortisol needs to produce a change in its structure to facilitate more endorphins and serotonin production. And as you see, that LSD, marijuana, and all the anti stress medicines contain carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. And this is how your cortisol adds on to the nitrogen electrons to shift to the states eventually of producing more endorphins and release the excess of carbonization. And this is the transformation that leads to your chakra alignment, which leads to shifting you to higher states by coming down your amygdala, by shifting of the electronegativity level and balancing the electronegativity level, as well as allowing the free energy to function and work. Your entire body is always performing magical tasks, and it is obviously quantum in nature. And this is indeed a magical journey. It actually takes more energy to break a person down and hurt a person and put them in excess of cortisol and tension and tightness than holding the space for producing more positivity, ease, satisfaction and serotonin, and that's literally anabolism or constructive metabolism or catabolism or destructive metabolism. So, what are you choosing today? Do not break yourself down because there's excess of cortisol and your amygdala is shaking, feeling like something is wrong. But build yourself up by taking on more electrons from nitrogen and changing the structures of your molecules and shifting from cortisol to endorphins. Through this, your biochemical wave will interact with other biochemical waves of others and eventually put you in a frequency where you can maintain that collective homeostasis with all that is. And this happens because we are literally quantum superpositional beings connected to each other through the very many superpositions of our sensations or the energy or the vortex we are tapping into. We are multidimensional, energetic, and vibrational beings having a human experience. We are here, there, everywhere, and having a superpositional experience. Your cortisols literally need to produce more beta wave, which continue to put you in a state of anxiety and worry, and need to think of more negative thoughts to add on those electrons. So shift to your gamma waves and concentrate them so that you can push through and your pituitary gland can produce more endorphins and you can shift towards producing more serotonin and have a constructive metabolism process, and that requires far less energy than beating yourself up over what's happening.